Greetings and welcome to Star Trek Discovery Pod, a sometimes funny trying to be smart podcast covering all things new in classic Trek. Strong and brave, wise and true. That's what makes us the Cerritos crew. I am your captain, Mariah Gossett. With me on the view screen, we have...
And I am set to kill Paul Satachet.
Hooray. Clyde is currently stuck in the transporter bay, but hopefully will be here sometime soon. Tonight we are recapping and discussing season 5, episodes 7 and 8 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Before we dive in, just a couple of reminders. Paul, where can people find things? Because I right now have something in my eyeball and I can't read the script.
Great. Eyeballs. A reminder to listeners, subscribe to our podcast at Apple, Spotify, YouTube. All links are at Spotify. All links are at StarTrekPod.co. And Patreon is updating their monthly charge. So now is a good time to help us on the Patreon. Folks, so I'm supposed to tell you, like something's weird is happening to my Google sheet.
Oh no, technology is failing us. Anyway, join us over on Patreon. It's patreon.com/Star Trek Pod. It's a monthly fee now. Don't pay per episode. So it's a great deal to get on in. Come hang out with us in the Slack. The Patreon fee helps cover the cost for like the live stream stuff, our website,
and our private jet, and like our
the software to edit all this
stuff. We have like a caviar service that is it's really
rotating.
We really need.
Definitely if we really need. If you are hanging out with us tonight live on YouTube, which you can do on Thursday nights when we are streaming, we keep you up to date on that schedule here on the podcast. Come join us here on the U of Tubes. We're hanging out starting at 8 p.m. Pacific time. And if you're joining us tonight and you have something you want us to pay attention to in the chat, just type the word pod, capital P, capital O, capital D, capital pod in all caps before your comment so that we can take a gander over there. Paul, how was your fall holidays?
It was good. Like I normally do a Thanksgiving. If I have my druthers, I do a progressive. So I go get usually it's like coffee, dim sum, like duck, and like at night maybe sushi or Korean barbecue, something like that. So like I basically go to different restaurants.
That sounds great.
And anyone who wants to come to any part of that can come to part. So like some people only have capacity to do a little Thanksgiving. Some people want to just hang out with me the whole time. My wife is not one of these people, but
she just picks one.
But this year, it all goes to Wormhole. Like if her sister's family is in town, at which point they cook. But this time they were in town, but they didn't want to cook, so we went to dim sum in the morning, and at night we got Peking duck.
That sounds great.
And and just because I've said a lot of Asian foods, it doesn't mean I do that because I'm Asian. It's because I really don't like Thanksgiving food. I know. I'm sorry.
It can be a controversial take, but I will tell you, I did not have any turkey this Thanksgiving either.
Well, what did you have?
I made like a slow pulled beef situation in a crock pot. That was really lovely. Yeah, it was great. And then the only Thanksgiving-y food that I really made was I love sweet potato pie, so I made sweet potato pie.
Love it. Like next year, I was thinking of doing a Star Trek Thanksgiving and just having hot dogs, no condiment.
Hot take on that hot Frankfurter, if you will.
That's right.
Which means it might be time for us to dive in and have some
hot freaks. Hot freaks.
Hot freaks. Okay. We have a couple of messages from the menagerie if we want to dive in. Let's see. Karen says, OMG, Upper Decks, just so fun, even if it is batshit crazy. I laughed so hard at the Rock's joke. OMG, laughing face. On first watch, this seems like such a mishmash, but it's actually pretty cleverly constructed. And while so much is silly, I still laughed at a lot. Some of it seems so elaborate and kind of what, but then it paid off. I miss quote unquote our gang, but mostly because I know our time is limited with them. Still, the final scene was cute, and I love that T'Lyn made an actual joke. Do you want to read the next one?
Gang says, I love Fully Dilated. it blended two of my favorite Star Trek episodes in The Inner Light and Carbon Creek. The return of Brent Spiner was great, especially since he played Data and not another Sung. I enjoyed seeing the command crew in action in Upper Deck, but the time felt misplaced. Coming that there's two more episodes before the series ends, or I'm not sure how they can wrap up a Quantum Fisher and Boimo storyline without it feeling rushed. Agreed.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on these two episodes?
Let's see. I do love Inner Light. That is a great TNG episode. And what you call it?
Fully dilated.
Yeah, in Fully Dilated, like that's that half. Is it Carbon Creek? Is that the one? Like is that the Voyager one with the time speedy planet?
That's the one where the Vulcans come to Earth.
Oh.
Prior to warp.
Oh, I thought this was a riff on the Voyager episode where you have like what you call it, the time speedy, the time dilated planet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah. Regardless, like it had a lot of like pieces to it.
Yeah.
I thought it was fun to watch that aspect. I always love Tendi and T'Lyn what you call it show. Like it seemed like Mariner was very in the background, and and Boimler and Rutherford were completely not utilized at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it feels like a very specific episode. So I do like that. I feel that for the last season, I actually want to see more, and this is a note for both episodes, more relationships. Like I come to realize that like, oh, what really brings it together for me is the chemistry, not the antics. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like they're really separating them right now.
Yeah, I know it's interesting because it made me wonder when they found out this was going to be their last season, because I know they actually went in and did a lot of rewrites and re-recordings for the final episode.
Gotcha.
So I wonder when that was revealed to them. I enjoyed both episodes. I thought they both reminded me the most of like classic 90s Trek that we've had in a long time for the series, because it is that like we've gone to a planet and now we're stuck here for like an infinite amount of time. I thought the spilling of the micheladas on the board was really funny and silly and stupid in like the best way, because yeah, it probably did only take them like 3 minutes to like clean that up. But because of the stretch of time, I thought that was like a funny way to kind of put that together. I thought Fully Dilated had so many jokes, like the I can't compete with her melons stands out in my mind.
No.
And I liked the T'Lyn v Tendi in really that it was just Tendi v Tendi, in that way. And we can dig into it some more just for my hot freak. And then I thought Upper Decks was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. I thought there were so many great little Easter eggs with like the Cardassians and the Bajorans and like, just like classic moments. I agree though that I'm a little like, how are we going to wrap this up in 2 episodes, guys? Like this is a lot. So I'm hoping they're extended cuts or a little longer would be nice. It does make me nervous, but it's like, if this wasn't a last season, I would be having a really great time,
Sure. 100%. Like ultimately, like I'm feeling like, oh, I'm not worried about it ending as a season. I'm worrying about it emotionally landing as a series.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like, if this is a regular season, I'd be like, yeah, I'm having a great time. This is great. Classic Lower Decks. Let's keep on trucking, So
Yep.
I think it's sometimes hard to judge folks on a final season when they didn't get to write it as a final season. But let's go ahead and dive into Fully Dilated, which was written by Megan Lloyd, directed by Andrew Mueth. Or is that the other way around? Let me look. No, directed by Megan Lloyd, written by Andrew Mueth. I, like I was saying earlier, think it's a fun premise. I like that we got a girls trip. I like that when we to see the progression of Mariner and Tendi over away missions that they've had together.
Mhm.
Uh, but what did you think of like adding T'Lyn to this mix? Because this is kind of, I think we get
Well,
all
this is parallels the marriage, like basically her sister gets kidnapped
right.
of last season, right? So
Hmm.
this is like part 2 of their girls trip out.
Hmm.
So I always like that, like, because I have a crush on Tendi, but like
We all do, Paul. It's fine.
yeah, okay, I I think I think what I really like about this episode is that uh how should I say it in the best way? Tendi is not shown at her best.
Right. Like we very
Yeah, yeah,
rarely see Star
yeah.
Trek characters at their lowest, and we
Hmm.
really saw her fall.
Yeah, like she's a little petty. I mean, I don't know if
Hmm.
that's the right word, but like it's in that vein of petty. And Mariner, for all of it, like like she just a little
She's having a good
random.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but a little random. So I'm missing an integratedness once again. Like, and here's the other thing: I'm actually hardly seeing Tendi and T'Lyn interact because, like,
Hmm.
so that I'm missing the interaction. Uh, that said, like, Tendi plus Data, thumbs up.
Yeah. What did we think of Purple Data?
I think it's pretty ridiculous, and like it comes down with what color is your Enterprise? Just a neutral, just rank. Like, that seems like a wasted opportunity. Like when purple's an
Since
option.
purple exists. Yeah. I also
And
thought that was funny.
so, yeah, I think, yeah, it's Data, like, and it's good and it's nostalgia. Like, I don't know if the episode pushes anything forward.
Mm.
That's I guess that's the thing that I even in the what you call it the last season, like things were moving forward in the serial arc kind of thing. Here, all we are doing is like sealing up a rift here and there and not having any kind of explanation or no urgency about it even.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, we
yeah.
have a lot left to like maintain because it's like they seem to be able to like the rifts don't seem to close very fast if they're able to, well, I guess in like their timeline it wasn't as long, right? But
Hmm.
even still, it's like if it's a half an hour that the rift is staying open long enough for them to be able to send Data back through and have like a plan and
Hmm.
get him rescued. Um, what did you think of? I mean, I wouldn't even call it a plot point, like a true A, B, C, or D. It's really like an F plot point of the Boimler Rutherford Michelada accident.
Like, I just think that michelada is a fun word to say.
It is a fun word to say. They're pretty delicious, I have to
Uh-huh.
say.
I think that, like, as a plot point for the F storyline, I
Hmm.
think it's really, in order for that to work, it just has to be really, really, really funny. And I don't know if spilling it and then just wiping and the jokes that were funny enough to carry an F line.
Hmm.
Like, there's the Seinfeld episode that I really like. It's the marine biologist one,
Is
and
that the golf ball?
it is a golf ball. Like,
Yeah.
and Kramer he's not doing anything really, like except
Hmm.
playing golf at the beach. And all of a sudden, like at the end, like I pulled this out and it's a golf ball. Ah, a hole in one. They go like that is funny enough to carry the F line or whatever.
Right. Like
Right.
the running joke, the running gag.
Yeah. And so yeah, so it just seemed, and also like, like I'm not exactly in love with how they're portraying Boimler this season
Hmm.
because he's copying, but the copying isn't even really interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I could see that. I know it would kind of be, I mean, one, I do love that there's a taquito night on the
Mhm.
Cerritos. Great choice, guys.
But here, one side note, if the away mission is literally supposed to take 1 second, like they don't have to miss taquito night.
Right. Like you're not gonna miss taquito night.
So I was going like, what's happening? What on second? I didn't get it until second watch, but I was like, why are you skipping third?
Maybe it was like already happening and because they had to go get transformed, that's why they missed
Sure,
taquito
sure, sure.
night. But But yeah, what did we think about Snell, our little sneaky dude?
I thought it was good. He's funny. Like I
Yeah,
think
I thought
it
he had better running gags through most
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I think one of my favorite bits was like, no, we are travelers, and then Talin juggles, and he goes, "Oh my god,
Witches.
oh my
They're
god,
witches.
that's amazing!" Yeah, I'm
Um,
like, oh, well, that's hilarious.
I did love like Mariner accidentally Mariner was the one that accidentally extinguished the
Eternal Flame.
flame. Yeah, the
Yeah.
eternal flame, and like all of these little guffaws that end up tossing her in jail, and her soap flute
Hmm.
that she ends up playing. It did feel like a bit of a weird side quest for Mariner, but I think she was just like, I'm stuck here. This isn't really that consequential. I'm just going to try to have some fun.
Hmm.
Um, but I could see how some people might think of it as a bit of a backslide. But really, Mariner to me in this episode was just being our constant referential machine of other episodes that have taken place in similar worlds.
Totally. Which is also interesting because like in the last season's episode on Orion, like
Mhm.
Mariner was also the running gag. She was getting
Right, with the
stabbed.
knife. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So like and I'm glad for that. Like I
I
think it's
appreciate the pattern and the repetition. Yeah.
and I feel like Mariner can oftentimes take up a lot of the light, and like this is
Hmm.
a story about uh
Tendi.
Tendi, and so like that's great. I
Hmm.
don't like the solution. Like I don't think two science officers really does it, because like in the end, like life isn't that way,
Well, it's the Cerritos. They can do what they want.
I guess.
I wanted to move into upper decks.
Upper Decks.
The upper decks, which I thought the like, I mean, it was kind of funny at the very beginning. As soon as they're like, yeah, nothing happens without us, blah blah blah. I was
Mhm.
just like, gee, I wonder what this episode's gonna be.
Right.
I wonder what's gonna happen. But from like the moment truly when Shaq starts seeing the visions, I went,
Sure.
oh, we're in for a good time. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
are gonna go off the walls, and I'm here for it. I do think though, for me, I thought the Billups storyline was kind of the
One
funnest.
note.
Well, it
Oh, that
was
was the funnest.
I thought it was one note, but I think to me the funniest part was just like having them the amount of techno babble that they
Yeah, yeah,
shoved
yep.
in
Love
was
it.
impressive.
Sure, sure.
I thought it was impressive and very funny. Um, but honestly, the person who I thought had kind of the most interesting arc was Ransom. What did you think of the whole Ransom like setup?
I think like maybe I'm not the biggest Ransom fan, but
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we've seen enough Ransom to know that he is actually competent.
Right. So that's why I
It,
was like, what is going on? And then it was like, it was the one that it actually took me a beat for me to realize what he was doing. Cause
oh,
at first, with like the long story, I was like,
mhm,
oh, they're playing with that whole like the
sure.
long speeches you give in a moment that
Mhm.
you don't need a
The
long
rally.
speech. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like the rally, but under pressure. And you're like, TikTok, like get done with your speech, which was about surfing with the two whales from Cetacean Ops, which I thought was
Mhm,
also really funny. Um, and a good little like back reference to their own characters. But
mhm.
um yeah, I at first was just like, wait, why are we backsliding this hard? And then I went, oh, I see. As soon as he quote unquote fell asleep, I went, aha, I see
Yeah.
what's happening here. Yeah.
Like
Um,
I think Dr. Ta'ana had like the best line of
mhm.
the season. Like, oh my god, they'll set the kill. So am I.
Right. Yeah. Tahana is so insane.
Yeah, like
This
and
is such a rearrange atoms. Just hit me with it.
and so like I feel like that is a good F line. Like, runner, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
it just keeps on going more and more, and you're hitting the same note, but like it pays off in a way, like, that you
Oh,
don't think. Like, she's
so
pain
funny.
tolerance, pain tolerance, pain tolerance, and then like, she gets shot with the phaser set to kill, and like, and she's pissed, and you're like, oh, it tracks. It all tracks,
Yeah.
in a way. So I've never been a big fan of hers until now. I feel like like they've chosen to make her like just the crazy one, but like
Mm-hmm.
this felt I felt
Chaos
more
with
in there.
purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, and more like you can see that she's pissed for a reason.
Right.
Like, she goes like, "Oh, they said this about me. I don't like when people talk about me." That's
Mm-hmm.
something that it's a way in.
Right. You're finally getting, I think, a better picture of her psyche as a character. Right.
Exactly. And so
Yeah.
I go like, and I love her assistant.
Yeah,
Like,
great. I was like, oh, I want more assistant. Now I'm
yeah,
like very invested in this like very
yeah. This is
snarky
this is
character.
this one character that we've never seen before. I go like, oh, this it's pretty good. Is it,
Yeah.
who's the actor? Because I feel like I know the
I
voice and
was
the
I was trying to figure it out, but the second slide like kept disappearing too fast for me to rewind back. So and I tried to look it up, but I couldn't. So if anyone else figured it out, but the voice did sound so familiar.
yeah. Like
I'll try to grab
if
it.
I had to criticize, and the only reason why I would criticize is because Lower Decks is such an amazing episode. It's an episode that
Right.
like spun off this whole series.
Right.
So
And it has such like heart and stakes and like
exactly, and this didn't have any heart, and I really
I
like how in Lower Decks how the stories interwove. Where
mm,
here, like Phillips never really interwove, but yeah, but you feel like there's
yeah. I thought to me the heart was really Captain Freeman and how she was like it's like I expected them to have for her to be doing all these like crazy above and beyond things, but the
Mhm,
fact that it was just like she's like, oh, these meetings with the crew are
mhm,
important and this is why. I
sure.
thought that was like the most lower decks version to do that, if that makes sense.
I got you. I see it. I can. I mean, like no one died, so
Yeah.
uh,
Which is nice. The bugs who couldn't take compliments were funny. And then yeah, to me, the Shaq storyline was great because I thought initially it was going to be something to do with when he died and like going to the Black Mountain or you know what
huh?
I mean from
Yeah,
early
yeah.
on. But the fact that it went all the way back to the Cardassian War and like the end beat with the therapist, I thought Shax had the best like bang bang like the most like concise and
Sure.
tight jokes that matched with
Mhm.
the plot character arcs of the episode.
Love it, love it. And I have to. I keep on forgetting like that your new camera just tracks with you.
Oh
So
yeah.
like I go like, oh, she's panning. Why is she panning? Oh, drums. And all of a sudden, drums. And
And then couch.
that's right. But yes.
um
So yeah, like yeah. I mean, I think it was a very fun episode. Once again, it it doesn't it doesn't acknowledge, tie in, or whatever the finality of the last season,
yeah.
and so like
Well, to me this did feel the most like it belonged in a final season of this show because it was our glimpse into the upper
sure,
decks, right?
fair. Like that is a fair and solid point.
And I think at episode 8 it made sense to me to be here because typically every other season this is where we've had the wackiest episode is landed at 8.
Like Caves was at 8, right? Was Caves 8?
I think Caves was 8. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
because
usually
like
yeah, I think it's like the most referential, a little silly.
hmm
Um yeah, it's sorry, I was looking at what season 4 order was. Yeah, 8 was from season 4 it was Caves. So
yeah,
it's like they tend to do this in this pattern and so to
yeah,
me it made sense that this is where this one landed.
yeah. It's a great yeah. So you're right. Like it's good for a seasonal pacing, I suppose.
Mhm. Cuz I
Um,
think it's our last like breath before the
like
penultimate and the
it's
ultimate.
probably like and then 9 and 10 will probably be like a 2-part kind of
Yeah.
finale kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, uh, you know, uh,
Uh
just not entirely ready to let go.
Me
You know,
neither. I'm really
that's
sad.
like
I need
I
a
feel
movie.
yes, right. 6 seasons in the movie.
Yes.
Like I feel like Lower Decks is probably the Star Trek that has most surprised and least disappointed me, and I'm including Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
I
No, I agree.
like season 2 of Strange New World probably not my favorite. Like there's some amazing bits, like
Mhm. The musical.
musical episode, and but like it
Oh,
didn't.
they even reference that here. It was like in case the crew start break out in song,
Yeah, yeah.
like
And so like there are a lot of, but like for all of it, like Lower Decks, it does so much.
With
It's
such a tight amount of time.
yeah, it's so much. Like, you know, it's referential, it's true to source material, it's skewering source material. You know, it creates original things. You know, it does all those things simultaneously in 30 minutes, and it didn't really need a ramp up. It just straight out of the gate, it did that.
Yeah.
And like, you know, and so like, I'm in awe of it. If I look back, and you know, there's probably more of a retrospective kind of discussion, but like, you know, but it is like, you know, a great work.
Yeah. Takako says Nurse Westlake was voiced by James Tsai,
Yeah,
who we've heard in the series before. He also played like the dad in Mathematically Perfect Redemption. The Peanut Hemper goes to the owl planet, and then played Grek and Tuvix and Dr. Chaotica in Tuvix as well. So has popped up in Lower Decks quite a few times.
Cool.
So good job, James. I thought the bagoons were so cute.
Did you?
I thought they were so cute. I was like, way to go, Lower Decks, giving me another cute little weird creature that I need a little plushie of.
Okay, well, there you go.
The little roly polies. You didn't think they were cute?
I think like, you know, space cows fit, like, you know.
Little space cow when he rolled up when he was falling behind, so cute.
I know, like, are you a cow person?
I do like cows, yeah.
So, you know, like I don't think I'm a cow person. I like to eat cows.
Well, yeah, you know, they serve their purpose.
But like, you know, Goofy.
Cows, they're not cows.
Yeah, but you know, I think in the end, maybe I haven't met the right cow. Like I guess I don't do well with animals that spook easily.
I mean, they don't really spook easily.
Like,
Why do you
but
think
they
cows
do.
spook easily?
Well, like
Have you been around a lot of cows?
I've been around a lot of steak.
Yeah, that's not the same thing.
Oh, there you go. Like so. But like these animals, you know, like what were they called?
The bagoons.
Yeah, like, you know, they just seem like kind of dumb. You know, it's not like whereas Moopsie seemed like cute,
yeah,
and like, you know, and had a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like so.
I mean, the bagoons can cloak. That's pretty big deal.
But that's not a purpose. Like Moopsie is like walking around eating bones.
Is that a purpose or just an internal drive?
That's something, like, you know, like that's something, like, you know, like it and you know, it has a want. What do these, like, you know, like space cows want? I don't know. They seem to get in the way.
I mean, that's pretty space cowy just to get in the way. Cows do love just like standing in the middle of a road and looking at you like you're crazy. It's I think a favorite pastime of theirs. If you were Captain Freeman's husband, where would you program the holodeck for an anniversary dinner?
For Freeman?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Freeman.
Or where would you want to like put a holodeck date together for an anniversary?
For my wife?
Yeah.
Like, is it for my wife or is it for me? Because my wife and I do not eat in the same
places. Let's do both.
Okay, so for my wife, I would probably pick a sushi spot. You know, that's quiet. I think that's probably
where in the universe?
You know, seeing as I'm only familiar with Earth, but let's say we go to we expand to Federation space or whatever. I think that she would enjoy Vulcan. You know, I think ultimately it's a little warm.
Yeah, it's like, do they have sushi on Vulcan?
Like I don't know. Well, do they have fish on Vulcan? Like I don't know. With their acid oceans?
It might be a little tough.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you know what? Deep Space Nine, that'd be the answer. We find someplace in Deep Space Nine.
Cute. And for you?
As far as me, there is there is a restaurant that I want to go to in 2025.
Mhm.
So if anyone can help me out there, it's in Copenhagen. It's called Alchemist.
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible to get a reservation,
Mhm.
and it's really expensive. But for like $5 an episode.
You can fund Paul's restaurant journey.
Yeah, but like Alchemist is it's basically a 6-hour meal, which is supposed to be really like I tend. Hey, Clyde,
Clyde, why aren't you here?
you know,
I see you in the chat.
yeah, it's this is not an advertisement for Alchemist, but like because I don't know if
Mhm.
it's good, but like it's supposed. I tend to enjoy intellectual food, and that does
Mm.
not mean necessarily always delicious.
Oh,
So
Clyde is still driving through hyperspace. I see.
yeah, well,
Um, yeah, if I was to program the holodeck for me, um, I think I would go to Dishoom in London. It's like,
Indian food.
yes, it's so good. It's
Like
one of
like
my
like like,
favorite restaurants.
like people love Dishoom. People love Dishoom.
It's incredible. I dream about lentils from Dishoom, and if the lentils are that good, the rest of it is great.
I love it. I love it. Like it's a thing.
It's a thing. I
So
like it.
if anyone wants to fly Mariah and us to do a culinary Star Trek podcast in Europe, like
It's just called Real Life Holodecks.
that's right. And so we'll get Clyde. Clyde will pick something hopefully in
Mhm.
Europe. We'll go to Dishoom. We'll go to Alchemist.
Yay, more
Uh,
food talk.
and like and then we'll go to I don't know where you want to go, Clyde.
You let
As
us know while
you're
you're
texting and driving.
be careful, Clyde. Be careful. I don't know how the autopilot is on whatever vehicle you're in. Um, yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed Upper Decks. I thought it was fun. I thought the jokes at the end with the bar scene was cute. I like that they each have their own little kind of like table situation going on. And that perception of like, oh no, everything only happens to me, like that main character syndrome, I thought was kind of a funny
Why is it a syndrome? Why you gotta call it a syndrome?
because there's a lot of people on the internet with main character syndrome.
Like yeah, like
They're all trying to do it.
they're all trying to do it. Yeah, no, like both episodes were adequate and
Mhm.
adequate to like good. Some moments of excellence.
Yeah. There's definitely still like the jokes per minute on this show still like astounds me every week. And
Mhm.
I'm always so impressed. Like, I think someone mentioned it in the chat, but it was something like the back reference to when they said Billups was like trying to expand his breakfast palette. And then he's like, I had a bagel and it made my stomach hurt. Goodbye. And then just like immediately into doing engineering stuff. I thought was really silly.
Yeah, like I think like in this season, what do you know about Rutherford? Nothing. Like he's really taken a backseat. Like Boimler's on autopilot.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mariner's expanding her horizons and being a better lieutenant, and then like
yeah,
Tendi and now um T'Lyn have been promoted to science officers, right?
So really what I'm missing is like everyone having their own kind of personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
Like at least in the other 4 seasons, like
Yeah.
everyone like you had the Mariner arc, you had, generally it would drive the season. Mariner like learned to calm down.
Yeah. Well, I also think like in other seasons, we've had more of them figuring out their relationships with each other. And I felt like T'Lyn was that opportunity for them for that group to be like, oh, how does this group react when you add another person and they have to get to know another person after knowing each other so well? And I feel like there's been some moments of that. But I think if they had known this was their last season from jump, there probably would have been more of that because this does feel very like, I don't know, like the season before the last season. Does that make sense? Like it's the one
100%.
where they're like, oh, we're really solidifying everyone as like their people. We're getting to see some adventures. We're seeing how this can work as a more serialized thing. And then like they get this news and I think realize they have to sort of wrap all of this up in an interesting way. So
like last season, there was an episode where they're trying to fix the habitat, the Dyson Sphere kind of
Mhm.
thingamajigger with the computer reboot,
Yeah.
and in that episode there, like you had Freeman doing her stubbornness about, oh look,
Mhm.
we're panning to the drums, more drums. Uh, she's doing her thing, trying to solve her hard drive, but like just being real stubborn about it. But like what you
Yeah.
saw was Boimler like trying to deal with the uh
Ensigns.
exactly, trying to deal with the burden of command. And
Mhm.
so you saw him conflicted on what to do. Can
Mhm.
I let these people? Can I trust these people to do their job and just delegate? And the answer was no. And it cost him, like, he got to see the Black Mountain.
Mhm.
But like that is, that's the thing that I'm sort of missing in this season.
Yeah, like where's the internal conflicts?
Exactly, and the opportunities to grow. Like where are their
Yeah.
hangups? Where in Rutherford, like after Tallinn came back, done. Like in the first episode was a very simple one, right? Where Tallinn
Mhm.
had to, like,
Tendi.
Tendi. Oh, yeah, sorry, Tendi. There are a lot of T's in the, Tendi,
There's
Tallinn,
quite a lot.
Donna. Like
There's a lot
it's
of
like
teas.
it. Anyway, and so you saw once, but like after Tendi came back, I'm not seeing once.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing people with once, and so that is a little frustrating for me.
Yeah. I could see that. And yeah, I agree. I wish there was more of that. Like I'm seeing a character per episode having like, I have this internal thing I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out about myself. Right. And I
Sure, yep.
think Boimler is the one that's been getting the most this season with this whole pad thing. But because he's following a formula, I think it's just like a harder thing to track emotionally because he's just imprinting
Mhm.
upon a thing that we don't really like, a character we don't know about, right? Like we don't know this other Boimler in that way to be able to really see beyond that one episode we had with him. So
Mhm. Well, I
it
mean,
can be a little difficult.
we could see Boimler like hungry for it, like in the episode where he's trying to get on to Anna's
Good
good
side, yeah.
side. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and that's worth something. But like it's it just feels patchy as opposed to like smeared
Connected.
across. Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
what do I know? Like, I'm not there to fix everything.
No. I will say, as like kind of a last note on Upper Decks, I did appreciate getting an episode with this particular cast because, like, as I thought about it as the episode was going on, I was like, this is such an iconic Bridge Crew
Yeah,
like
yeah.
collection of
They
like
weirdos.
of weirdos, but also just like the voice actors alone, like Don Lewis and Fred Tatasciore and uh um oh my gosh, Stand By Me. Am I blanking on Ransom's voice actor? Um
Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell. Yeah. Um, I just think it's like a pretty incredible voice cast
Sure.
that we've been given for this series. So it's great.
Here's the thing that I kind of want to see.
Mhm.
That I want to see a little more Miglimo, which you'll never hear me say.
Well,
But
interestingly enough, so Paul F. Tompkins voiced that main bug, the main
okay,
bug
bug bad
character.
guy.
Yeah. Click it, the main click it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So
so yeah.
so couldn't Miglimo like because he was in the what you call it
The briefing and then at the very end. Yeah.
exactly, and it's like, oh well, like, did you do anything? Like,
I mean, that would have been, it's like if the episodes were longer, I think a funnier beat for that would have been if he was like trying to therapize the click it about why he doesn't like compliments.
yeah, no, I think that'd be great. Another thing that I was thinking is like every now and then you cut to Miglimo and he's just in his office, kind of waiting for someone to show up, but no one shows
Yeah.
up.
That would have been a funny cutscene. That would have been
uh,
funny.
so yeah, so
Uh,
anyway, but like
yeah.
yeah, like
And
two
same
more
thing,
episodes.
the other security guard who's voiced by Carl Tart. I can't remember.
Shaka when the walls fell.
Yeah. I think we didn't really get much from him either. So yeah, it's hard when you have such a great ensemble cast
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah, no,
to spend time with everyone equally.
yeah, no.
Well, Clyde, unless you're about to to jump in, I think that might be it for this evening. Next week we will be. I forgot to tell you, Paul. We will be out, but
Okay. Are we?
because I have a holiday party I have to go to.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
so we will be back on the 19th to talk about the last 2 episodes of the series.
Love it, guys. Sorry for like this bouncy, but Mariah is very busy.
It's the holidays, guys. It's hard. They made it difficile on us.
Trade
And for
difficile.
some reason, offices decide they want to have their holiday parties on a Thursday instead of a Friday. Not my choice, but they did that. So
Love it.
next week, Nicole will be at Will Smith's concert.
Really? Wow. Like
Interesting.
where is Will Smith playing?
That should be hopefully fun. You can party like it's 1999. And it'll be a good time. Oh, you just got really quiet, Paul. I don't know if your microphone moved.
Hello.
There
Is that
you
better?
are. Yeah.
Nicole, are you on the East Coast or are you
It's
in
San Diego.
the Wild Wild West?
Wow. That scene from Abbott Elementary. I don't know if y'all are watching Abbott, but there's a great line dancing scene to the Wild Wild West song that I love.
Love it.
But that is it for this week, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're here with the live stream, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening to the audio episode, we so appreciate you. Hey, you can also rate and review this on Apple. That is super helpful for us. It helps people find the show. So go ahead and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can visit StarTrekPod.co for links and more, links to the Patreon and all that good stuff. We are going to get on to Blue Sky when I finally remember to open up a social media app. And when I'm not working. Thank you, Karen, for helping me get that set up and finding where all the Trekkies are going now that X continues to be the hellscape that it is.
And remember, if you guys want to help us get to
foodie paradises.
That's right. In London and Copenhagen, and where Clyde wants to go, just let us know.
We can do it. Until next time, y'all. Live long and prosper. Bye-bye.
Bye.